I didn't say you could start. My camera just started itself. Okay. Hey, how's it going? I was going to read the cards. It's just a surprising development. It has never turned itself on before. Are you turned on? What did I do to my phone? I wasn't finished setting it up, so I can't find the button I'm looking for. I guess it's not important. It seems like there's enough light. I actually kind of wanted to get some on this side, so let me just hunt for that button a little bit harder. Oh, there it is. All right. Oh, that's not it. Where the hell is it? Come on. Oh, there it is. Jeez. They could have put a color on it. Okay. Now it look like I'm in like a... It doesn't matter. You can see, right? Okay, good. Okay. So I pulled 2 cards from the Shaman's Dream Oracle deck. And the first card I pulled was number 1 in the deck. A tidy house. Clarity and organization. So there's kind of a lot of stuff going on here, but it put me in mind of it put me in mind of the progress. Shoot. The progress our country has made here in the U.S. since its primitive beginnings, which I believe is represented by this house here in the front, because it's old, it's low technology, it is at a place where it built in concert with the earth and appreciated what it was and what it offered to the well-being of the people. Like, for example, American settlers, colonists, they would have had very primitive means and technology, and it's because they kept dying. It sounds like they weren't very well equipped, or like their health, I don't think, wasn't that great. I'm thinking of the Roanoke colony, because in the first year, wait, not Roanoke, Plymouth, sorry. In the Plymouth colony, out of 252 people in the first year, like over half of them died. So the colony was reduced from 252 to 50. That's seems like quite a lot of catastrophic losses because of the low technology at the time, and the fact that you couldn't go to a store and get some prefabricated item to fit whatever your need was at the time. You actually had to manufacture that stuff yourself. So it made sense to have a bunch of kids, because potentially some could die. And it was a lot of work. Like I said, like everything had to be made from scratch. Like whatever you thought of, you had to make it. So it makes sense that they would take advantage of the structure of the tree. And you see that they've made it very cozy with the little fairy lights and everything. And it looks inviting and warm. But, you know, the way it does, this light is killing me. Progress happens, and so we want more and better mod cons. And you see the stature and uplift here in the house as compared to this old stalwart. And then more progress happens, and I feel like this is where we're at now. And it's just become a frenzy of, what new thing can I do? What can I add? and there's a lot of people doing that, so the structure is all crazy. It doesn't even really make sense what it's doing, and it's also like it almost looks like either the house is fighting with its own structure, or there was like more than one architect and they couldn't decide on a single drawing. And it just feels like the design itself is just already a fustercluck. Just because the love and care that went into this, and the exactitude and craftsmanship that went into this is not here. This is more modern looking to like Common Era, but it also looks like a cracker box crap. And this one is representing to me like current times. And where is it? Right here, you can see that it is like, where are those silly little stilts I saw? There was one part that it's perched on this cliff here. You see, like it was so hurried and haphazard, because along with like making your mark and building the building, whether it represents an actual building or some other creation, it was so important to hurry up and get it up and get that money, get it sold, that they didn't think very well. Where are those little stilts? Okay, here it is. So I guess they're not really stilts. I'm not sure what you call these little supports, but you can see that just these little toothpicks are holding this big old honking thing on the edge of this cliff right over the frothy ocean. Like, that is not a calm bay that you could just like safely dive into. That looks like, generally when you're at a shoreline and the water looks like that, you're always going to have wave action, but that is what happens when the water hits a bunch of rocks. So if a person or this building were to tumble into there, well, this is just going to fall apart anyway, because it's just too many things sticking out to come down at any velocity and hit the water. Like high dives can injure you if you don't enter the water correctly. You can break bones and things. So this house is not streamlined for diving. It's not meant to be in the water, I don't think. But it kind of feels like it's so much cutting corners, and again, not caring so much about the quality of it as much as like what can be gotten out of it monetarily, I would think, or materially. So as far as a tidy house is concerned, I'd have to say that I would say that this is the tidier one. This one looks very neat and orderly and almost compulsively straight and perfect lines, which those occur rarely in nature. Like, this to me is like what we should have never left, what we should be aiming for. And if we were going to expand upon anything, expand upon the same. Because each progress, like, we think it's going to go good, but then it ends up turning into this because there's too many cooks in the kitchen and greed and blah, blah, blah. So I will now read what the book says about this card. A tidy house. Let's see. This thing makes it hard to see. Now I'm blind. Give me a second. Ugh. Oh, this is bad. I'm going to just try one more time. Okay, well, that's a little better. A tidy house. Clarity and organization. A thorough inventory and auspicious symbol. If your emotional world feels messy and unruly, and you can't seem to get clear, it's time to see how your environment is affecting you. Although your inner world has a huge impact on what shows up in your outer world, the reverse is also true. You can be influenced by the people who populate your daily life and the energy of the objects you surround you with. Basically, everything in your surroundings. Now is the time for an inventory and a full clearing of your environment. Ask for clarity from your relationships and do not make assumptions at this time. Clear and unambiguous communication is key. You may choose to let go of some people from your life when this shows up. This is a good thing. Otherwise, you might stay in these relationships too long out of a sense of obligation and social courtesy, when in truth there is nothing holding you together. Be impeccable with your word. Say what you mean and be willing to make whatever changes are necessary to clean up your side of the street. If you know you're doing the right thing, it doesn't matter who has an opinion. That said, right now, once you are sure your proverbial house is a tidy one, there is a release of energy to begin new things, to enjoy life, and to know with a certainty that you are on the right path. Well, it certainly kind of came up to some of the themes that I just talked about as far as like the messiness of the world. And I didn't mention it as far as it being an emotional, or as there being an emotional factor to it, but it kind of comes with the human territory, doesn't it? I mean, there's some of us that are not emotional, but that's a different neurology, I guess. I'm not sure how to qualify that, but I'm talking about like sociopaths and that, like people and psychopaths, like people that their emotional settings and feelings are kind of messed up. So, or there's not like the majority of people. And the time for an inventory and a clearing of your environment, well, it's almost like the house on the cliff, and because it's a mess. It's like an Escher thing that, you know, people are, what are we, three-dimensional? People are three-dimensional. We can't be folding ourselves into Escher world. We're not built that way. And so, like the folly of this house is like trying to force yourself to dimensionally do some kind of thing that your physicality just does not allow for. And that, to me, is another kind of metaphor for the the emotional strife and physical sort of resting with the environment or twisting uncomfortably in its grasp. And, you know, it's like the further you get away from the cozy house, it's like the more messed up you get and the more technology you have in your house. Like, we don't realize the effect of all of the stuff that we plug into places and put batteries in, and they emit electromagnetic stuff and radiation and probably other stuff. And we don't notice it until we go someplace where it doesn't work, like the signal isn't there, and so you just put it away and find something else to do, or do things that you used to do before all of these devices came along and were so addictive. And you know, and taking an inventory too is like a mental thing. And as a whole, I think our country could do some mental group therapy, because we have issues and we're not enough of us trained to be able to referee those discussions and to sort of explain like what is going on with us. But clearing away junk and unnecessary, I guess, people, places, and things sort of clear the way to that clarity. Okay, and so the other card that I pulled, can I just put you down? I'm gonna just put it over there. Hey, much better. So the other card I pulled from the Shaman's Dream Oracle deck is Drifter, number 14. And it says, experiencing life as it comes. And I'm going to read the, oh, I guess I should, we'll do the card first. So, there, you can see, I hope, is a ship at sea. And it's, I don't know, I mean, is that like the Strait of Gibraltar or something? Emphasis on straight. I'm not sure what this is supposed to be. I mean, obviously it's adrift at sea, but this, well, you know, drifter implies that you're rudderless, or you're otherwise not really controlling the direction of where you're going, just sort of letting the ship drift. And I thought that it does kind of look like a Chinese junk. You know what those are? Well, they're like ships that look like this with this very similar looking sail, but they use these oars, and I think they go like pretty far down, these oars, like under the water, so that I'm not certain about this because it's been a long time since I got the knowledge that I'm trying to dig up out of my head about them, but I think they go so far into the water, if it's shallow, that it sort of can use the earth to propel itself along. I could be totally dreaming that up. You look it up, because I'm going to look it up when I get done. But it's also clear that, well, it's kind of freaky what I just thought of, but I thought of the ghost ships that left with passengers, and, well, the cargo I think is still there, but all of the like mammals are gone. And maybe if there was a bird, like a pirate, now they're pirates, a ship bird, well, I have heard no words from any of these ghost ship stories that they found a bird or bird remains. Like, they're just empty of life, is I guess what I'm trying to say. But this ship with no one on it that's drifting, I mean, it has to just accept that wherever it's going, it's like there's a possibility that it might smash or go aground or something else. But it's interesting though, those ghost ships, like some of them are incredibly old. Like I don't know when was the last time they found one. It seems like I was a kid when that happened, so we're talking like at least 40 years ago or something like that. But still, I don't remember hearing of anything lately. But the ones that have been found in the past were from sometimes a really long time ago, and it's just like, obviously it creeps you out, because where did the people go? Why is there no sign of them? Did they get whisked off by aliens? Did the Kraken snatch them off the boat? Did they get off the boat into a smaller boat and leave? Like, I have no idea. No one really does, except people that can sort of dip their consciousness into that stream and like ask questions about it. I've never tried. Maybe I will, because sometimes those exercises work. Sometimes they don't, but I guess you just practice makes perfect. I guess you got to build those muscles. But anyway, it just seems like when they have found them, they've been intact. So it's almost like either the ghosts are steering the ship, out of harm's way, or the ship is still steering the ship out of harm's way, which, if the ship is a metaphor for like my country and our is there another word besides struggles? We're just having difficulties with each other, really, and it's pretty much messing up the operation of everything else. Not entirely, but there's a lot of people that are sort of clashing with each other, ideas and like the ways to actually accomplish the job of like running the country. Like there's so many facets to it. It's like an organism and hard to keep rein on, and it's like a big organism that I don't know how else to put it. But if we were to make the ship that organism, somehow it's finding its way around without, even though it lost all the people, the ship itself is staying in one piece. And yeah, I mean, I guess like in the same way that climate change is not going to ruin the world for the planet, if we don't do things to protect ourselves, it's going to do bad things to us. And by bad, I mean make it difficult to stay alive and have water and to grow food and, have the animals stay alive and not be overwhelmed by all of the things that I just said that would be in low supply and heat. They're as vulnerable, and sometimes more so than we are. And in order to protect ourselves, we have to not only protect us bipedals, but also our animals and our companions and our livestock and just life in general, because it's all of a piece. Like we are part of a biosystem. And I feel like with the people having like left the ship, this ship, because they haven't left really anywhere, they're still around, we just can't really sense them. But we have to figure out a way to get back on the ship, new living people, new generations, and figure out the way to be able to run it with people on it, so that it, in the same way that it apparently just sailed around just fine forever, like we have to get in and work with the system instead of trying to will it, into submission. So I will now read the lovely, what the book has to say. Drifter. What lights you up? Experiencing life as it comes, seeking the essence but not knowing the form. The drifter invites you to step out of your to-do list and your ordinary routine to feel the breeze against your skin, calling you to follow the wind and explore life's opportunities. When the drifter appears, it's a sign that it's time to cut the mooring lines, holding you to the dock. It's not important to know the destination before you set sail. It'll become clear as you leave port. Future's unwritten. Do not wait for a map, as there are none to where you are destined to go. Again, the future's unwritten, unmapped. But be sure that you do have a compass to keep you true. Yours is your pure love. Oh, your compass. Yours is your pure love and your intention to be free, even of your own beliefs and preconceptions. Once you figure out how to start shedding that stuff, it does feel like very liberating to not have to drag around something that you don't necessarily agree with and doesn't necessarily agree with you, but it's just like, it's how we do it. It's what we've always done. And yeah. So it goes on to say, few appreciate the energy of the drifter. Here you might not seem to be doing anything worthwhile or meeting someone else's expectations, good thing, but you're the only one who understands that others are running full out on the hamster wheel and getting nowhere. Your laziness is an underappreciated virtue, misunderstood too. You know that life will find you and bring you everything that you require without your having to search for it, by simply being instead of frantic doing. Even as you let your mind wander, releasing it to go on a daily walkabout, call it back home regularly to deliver news from the cosmos. The drifter helps you find out what you are looking for, even when you didn't think you were seeking anything. So, I feel like that all tracks. And I guess, okay, I'm mixing up my pages, pardon me. Fixed it. Okay, thank you and good night. Can I just postscript here for a minute? Yesterday, I loaded my card reading at, I think it was 9 o'clock p.m. When I woke up this morning at 9, like, I went to bed at 4, okay? And it still wasn't done. And then when I woke up, it was like 4, no, it was 8. And still wasn't finished. So right now it is 7:33. So I hope that today's cards load today. Oh, I guess I'm not. You know what? I pulled an animal card, but I'm just going to skip it because I don't feel like I need to say anything else. Yeah. Okay, bye.